Bissau. From Bissau to I'm going to Ziguinchor. Ziguinchor, it's in Senegal. It's a city that is like a border town between Senegal and Bissau. And currently, as I speak to you, I am in Bissau. It's a chaotic situation here because I don't understand the local language. And so because of that, it's difficult for me to get by. But I'm at the park here, and the sitting arrangement is something I don't quite understand. But at the same time, I think I've gotten into line, and you see, there's a lot of people there, and there are a few vehicles flying Bissau. So sometimes, as travelers, I've been doing this for some time now. For those who don't know, I have been on a special expedition from Nigeria to Stop nonsense. I've been on this trip from Nigeria to 16 West African countries, all by road. And in doing that, so far I have done 8 countries. Bissau is my 8th country. I have done Lagos, Benin Republic, Togo, Benin Republic, Togo, Ghana, Burkina Faso to Mali, Mali to Dakar, and then Dakar to Gambia, Gambia to Guinea-Bissau. And right now, from Guinea-Bissau, I was unable to move to Conakry due to some complications on the way. But right now, I'm back to Bissau again, and I'm going back to Dakar. From Dakar, I'll go back to Mali, and from Mali, I'll now head to Sierra Leone. So, you see, it's a very, very unpredictable journey. And very, very unpredictable, very also because of the situation of the road, which is really, really bad, across some parts of West Africa, particularly from Mali. The road condition is very bad. So, in this video, I just want you to travel with me all the way from Bissau to Dakar, Senegal. All right. When I passed that road, it was a very terrible. It was in a very terrible that in the next 10 hours I'm going to be on the road. So you guys travel with me in the next 10 hours as I go to Dakar, Senegal, okay? So I'll be showing you some interesting things around me, the roads, checkpoints, a whole lot. It's just a whole lot, So let's go. First is it's ready. Let's see how it goes. It's very rough here. The situation of the country is somehow, but for inside the Bissau town, every other part of Guinea-Bissau don't have good roads, and it makes it very difficult to travel. Very, very difficult. Okay. Traveling across West Africa is really stressful, and that's because of a lot of uncertainties that you come across on your way. For example, one of the uncertainties you must prepare your mind for if you're traveling across West Africa is the fact that there's going to be a lot of checkpoints, there's going to be a lot of harassment, from immigration to police, to customs, and a whole lot. And the funny thing is that the fact that you have passed an immigration checkpoint, you are properly stamped into a country in West Africa, does not mean you're not going to be harassed by the police. They are going to harass you and ask you to give them money. When you refuse, they make life difficult for you. I passed through this in Burkina Faso. You know, from Lagos to Benin, there wasn't any issue. Then to Togo, I had it very hot with border control officials there. We had a lot of issues where they were requesting for money. I said, no, this is an ECOWAS country. I have my documentations complete, and I have a document which also clarifies that I am a journalist and I'm on research across West Africa to showcase the ease and difficulty of doing business across the West Coast or the West African border, West African corridor. So we had that fracas for some time, and then after some time, after like several minutes, after about an hour or more, they allowed me to go. I was stamped. I was allowed to go. But here's the flip side of the whole thing was that my vehicle had left me, so I had to board another vehicle all the way from there to Togo, where I eventually slept that night. And after that, I moved to Ghana. In Ghana, I didn't have any problem. I didn't have any issue whatsoever in Ghana. Ghana was smooth. Immigration were friendly. Everything just went nicely. I finished it in Ghana, but I had a bit of challenge with my bank card because it doesn't dispense the local currency, which was the reason why I got it in the first place. And my bank card told me, they had assured me it's functional. But all that apparently were just mere rules because it didn't work. So I traveled down to Nigeria again to fix it. Well, I couldn't fix it. I couldn't fix it. And when I couldn't fix it, eventually I went back to Nigeria, like I said. Finished fixing it in Nigeria like they assured me. I came back to Ghana again, continued my work in Ghana with the hope I was going to leave for Burkina Faso from there. But when I tried it, the card again, it didn't work. So I got more confused and had to go back to Nigeria again. So from then I thought, well, let me just play safe. I wasn't going to use the card anymore. So what I did was, on my return, I refused going back to Ghana directly. So I thought, okay, why don't I just get to Benin Republic, and from Cotonou, I take a vehicle going straight to Burkina Faso, which was what I did eventually. Now, the way to Burkina Faso was about 20-something hours because, the road is the northern part of, the city of Cotonou. So it merged all the way from Ghana to Cotonou. Somewhere they merged around Togo. So we continued our journey from there. The Togo immigration again I still insisted. Eventually I was stamped in and out of Togo. The journey continued that night. And after that, when we now found between Togo and Burkina Faso. Togo border again to stamp me out of Togo was also another chaotic experience. We passed that again, and I moved over. Getting to the Burkina Faso side, it was smooth. With all your documentation, you are stamped in no drama. I gave them my documentation, checked it. So, you're a pressman, you're a journalist, so you're welcome. Okay. So, I was stamped into Burkina Faso. But I didn't know, nothing prepared me for the drama ahead because I felt, having passed immigration, that's all. But I didn't know that the drama had just started. So on getting into the country proper, we passed more than 20 checkpoints from that part, from the border till Ouagadougou. And in fact, it was one drama to another. Every time we come down, they collect our passports, do their checks and all of that. They request for money and all of that. In fact, at one checkpoint, I was detained for close to an hour because I refused to give a bribe. Having told them I'm a journalist and I have been stamped into the country duly. So why are you requesting for this bribe, really? They kept me there for more than 1 hour. Almost lost my boss and I was let go. So that was after pleadings from the driver and pleadings from a passenger who is also a Nigerian. So eventually I was eventually let go, not without parting with some money. So on getting into Burkina Faso proper, it was the night I got in there, and I had to look for my hotel, because the hotel I booked, I had passed, I didn't, my reservation had passed, my reservation had passed, and because my reservation had passed, it means it was gone, so they had cancelled it. So on getting there, I had to locate the hotel and began again to renegotiate, which didn't work because I did all my bookings on bookings.com, so it was a bit cheaper. And this time around, I had to start renegotiating, which was more. So I eventually stayed in Burkina Faso. From time to time in Ouagadougou, you get police stop, stop you, request for your documents, and after that, you are let go. Though they don't ask for bribe from there, they just let you go. So after that, I moved. After completing my assignment in Burkina Faso, I decided to move on to Mali. Now, one funny thing about these countries is that moving on to Mali, it was going to be more like a 22 hours journey from Ouagadougou. But again, when I thought the drama in Burkina Faso from the border was it all, I didn't know a greater proportion of drama was oncoming in on my way to Mali. So on getting to Mali, on the border to Mali, it was just few days after the attempted coup d'etat in Mali. So things were very, very rough on the road. The law enforcement agents were very, very unprofessional. In fact, they threw human rights to the wind. They threw caution to the wind. They even go physical by even beating up passengers who had refused to give them a bribe. It was very difficult. But I was able to scale through again. I gave something after all the harassments. I gave them some money. And after that again, we met more than 10 checkpoints from Mali to into Bamako. Now in Bamako, on getting to Bamako, it was late in the night again. The journey continued for me, and I stayed in Bamako for like about a week. After Bamako, I headed to Senegal. And from Senegal, I didn't quite stay in Senegal that same day because I was transiting from Senegal. I was going to the Gambia because I was going to come back to Senegal, some content in Senegal. So I decided to transit from the Gambia. So transit from the Gambia to Senegal today. To get out of Mali to Senegal was also another big problem. Those police officers there, stroke immigration, were requesting for 10,000 sefa from individuals. But on getting to my turn, I was able to tell them, I'm a journalist, I presented my documentation. It took time, it wasted my time for over an hour, moved me from one office to the other, tried to harass me. I stood my ground, and I told them I'm a reputable journalist from Nigeria. I have records, so you can check for yourself. I even brought out a newspaper publication on my trip across West Africa. They saw it and they said, okay, that's fine. So I was let go. Now, when I was let go, they stamped me out, right? On getting to the Senegal side, I felt like, guys, are you sure that's the Djibouti, what do we call it now, immigration point in Senegal? That is, Djibouti is the border town between Senegal and Mali. So, going to the Senegal side, we kept there for over an hour and about 10 minutes. And afterwards, the officials requested for they collected our passports and other documentations, and they left us there for about an hour and 10 minutes. So much later, they came back, gave back our passports, asked us to go into the vehicle. We moved further forward, and then afterwards, they were like, okay, you guys come down again, and we need all your passports this time, which was what happened. We gave them our passports again. So this time around, we're going to do proper documentation into Senegal. So I presented my documentation again, and they said, "Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Welcome to Senegal. Journalists, you're welcome. You're welcome." Okay, I was stamped in, no bribe collected. The officials were friendly. As a matter of fact, through and through, I moved in and out of Senegal because of the fact that I was transitioning into different other countries. So I moved in and out of Senegal like 4 times, if you can put it that way. And in all the borders, right, I was highly respected, and the usual courtesy of the press was given to me. No bribe was collected. Officials were very friendly. I was stamped in and out, in and out, and that was it. Now, on getting from Senegal now, I had to go to from Djibouti to Dakar. That's a very long journey that we embarked on. And guys, for real, Djibouti to Dakar was farther than I thought. We were there. We traveled for almost another 8 hours. So at some point, the police stopped us and said, "No, you cannot move again." That's about a few minutes to 12 a.m. in the midnight. So we cannot go further. So we stopped there. We slept there. And the next morning around 6 a.m. we let go. And we kept moving on until we got to Dakar. Now on getting to Dakar, it was late in the afternoon the next day. So the journey continued, and I proceeded on to Senegal. In fact, it was in the evening because before I could change some money, all the dramas and all of that, eventually changed the money, eventually was able to do some things in Dakar, and I moved to, what's it called now? The Gambia. Now, getting to the Gambia from Dakar to Barra, which is the border town between Gambia and Senegal. We got there at about a few minutes to 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. in the night. And that was it. I was stamped out of Senegal. And after that, eventually getting into what's the name again? Gambia. A lot of questions asked, even after presenting my documentation. But all the same, right? I presented all my documentation to them, questions asked, questions answered. Around about 1:20 a.m., I was stamped into the Gambia. So, but having gotten into the Gambia, I couldn't continue because going to Banjul from Barra, we need to go through the ferry. And the ferry only stops work by 6 p.m. in the evening. So if you don't join it by 6 p.m., it's still the next day. So and we were around 1 a.m. It was around 1 a.m. So what are we going to do? So we had to calm down there. We slept in front of the police station. They accommodated us, gave us chairs to sleep, to sit, and we're there. I couldn't sleep because of the mosquitoes. So that was it. And the next day proceeded. Something I noticed about the Gambia is that the immigration officials there are very corrupt. They fabricated something and said, "Oh, well, the moment they started my passport, Nigerian passport, they now said, the guy said, where is your medical document?" I gave them my yellow fever card, duly stamped and everything. They said there was supposed to be a stamp at the immigration or at the entry point showing that I've been certified. I said, what the hell is this? What do you mean? What do you mean by stamp? What kind of stamp is that? So if there's no stamp, what's my business with that? Immigration has stamped me in. So what are you trying to say? These guys, I met a friend in the bus though, I didn't say that part, a friend who is a Gambian. He eventually had to give them $500. $500 is almost like about 6,000 something in Naira exchange, I didn't know he gave them the money. Eventually, they let me go. That was how I entered the ferry to Banjul. So in Banjul, I had a great time. I was in Senegambia. I stayed in Senegambia. That's where my hotel was, and I had a good time in the Gambia. Or like I said, I realized that immigration officials are always fabricating something so they can get money from travelers. So you guys, when you get there, you have to be wary of this, okay? So out of the Gambia, I moved on to Guinea-Bissau. Now, from Banjul to Guinea-Bissau, you have to get Banjul from Gambia. You have to go to Banjul. From Banjul, you take the ferry, and then with the ferry you cross over to Barra. Now Barra is where you now get a vehicle that is going to from Barra. You get a vehicle. I think from Barra, I don't know what really happened again. I think I got a vehicle that was going to Ziguinchor. No, I got no. I didn't take the ferry on my return. What I did was from Senegal, I got a vehicle that took me to somewhere where I had to take a vehicle to another place. I forgot the names now because I'm really stressed out, to another place and then to another place before they took me to a place called Ziguinchor. Now Ziguinchor is the border town between Senegal and Guinea-Bissau. So after Ziguinchor, you now enter a vehicle proper to Bissau, which is about 10 hours because the road situation is really bad. Now in Bissau, I'm getting to Bissau. It was very late in the night, but I got another good Samaritan who now helped me. I got a hotel, and from there, I was just able to the next day explore Bissau. So that was it, guys. I've just given you a rundown of my activities in the last 2 months, right? So right now, I'm about traveling from Bissau because from Bissau I was trying to enter Conakry, but they refused me entry. They say because I'm a journalist, they don't want journalists. The country wants to hold their elections. They don't want cameras. In fact, they were very, very particular with cameras. They didn't want cameras. So the fact that I was having a GoPro camera was a no-no for them. You understand? So, and that was it. I had to return. The implication of that singular action was that I have to come back now because I was in a border town between Conakry and Bissau, where I slept. It is called Buruntuma. So I had to come back to Buruntuma, from Buruntuma to a place called Gabo, which is about 4 hours journey. And from Gabo, I had to come back to Bissau, which is about another 6 to 8 hours journey because of the road condition. Now from Bissau, I stayed a day in Bissau, and then today I'm deciding now to move on to Senegal. And then from Senegal, I'm going to go back to Mali, and from Mali then to Sierra Leone. So you can see that they've doubled or tripled, quadrupled my journey just because of that singular action of not allowing me into Conakry. So right now, as I am going, I need you guys to follow me as I travel from Bissau to Ziguinchor. I've been here for more than an hour. The chaos had reduced, and I would say that having reduced the chaos, I can now wait for the next vehicle so that we start leaving for Ziguinchor. At least I'm sure now that I will be able to get a ticket that will lead me to Ziguinchor. But all the same, let me give you a quick tour of the park here. You see how rough it is? So you see how rough everywhere is, right? This is some of the stress I go through trying to bring you content here on YouTube, okay? I've not started releasing videos from videos of my expedition, right? I only release a few videos, maybe from the one in Benin Republic, but don't worry, I'll release some more videos. By the time I am done with the trip, I'll start releasing videos on my channel, okay? So if you have not subscribed to the channel, guys, this is the time for you to do so. You need to subscribe so you can follow me on this expedition, because I promise you it's something like you have never seen before. It's not like you've ever seen before. My friend, water? You have water? Merci, eh?
Thank you.
Oh, you speak English?
No,
MP.
I'm sorry.
That's good. So he speaks a bit of English. This is
Very good.
yeah. I say obrigado.
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 Thank you.
Amigo.
Yes,
Obrigado, amigo.
Amigo.
So trying to integrate with the locals is something that is very, very I don't speak the language, but it's important. It's important that somehow you learn some few words in the local language. And here, Guinea-Bissau is a Portuguese colony. It's a Portuguese colony, so they speak Portuguese. They speak Portuguese here. So that is it. But it's an interesting country, away from the bad roads. My friend, amigo, that one. This is too cold. No, yeah, this is too cold. Give me that one. I don't want cold one. Yeah, that's it. So I'm trying to get some water. Trying to get some water, guys. Okay, obrigado. So you take that one away. So guys, I'm going to take you on this journey, right? But you need to stay with me, okay? Yeah, just stay with me because the vehicle has not arrived. You can see these vehicles are also going to different places, you know. But the vehicle has not arrived. The vehicle that is taking us to Ziguinchor has not arrived. So I'm just trying to get some water here so I stay hydrated. Obrigado. Something I have learned from this trip across 15 West African countries as I'm traveling every day, the experience I am getting is one you can't learn, you can't get to learn in a school premises, right? Inside a school. No. But you see, what I realized is that it is more difficult to travel across West Africa as a West African. And sometimes I wonder what the problem is. You know, I've also come to realize that a lot of West Africans don't love themselves. They dislike themselves, you know, which is what makes it very difficult to do a lot of things. Traveling across West Africa is one of the most difficult tasks you can ever think about. Very, very difficult. In fact, they say it is easier. Can you let me keep this there? Let me keep it there. Obrigado. It is quite easier for a camel to pass through the needle's eye than for you to travel easily across West Africa. And it's a problem, even as a West African, with my Nigerian passport, I've passed through a lot. The moment they cite your Nigerian passport, it's a problem. Sorry guys, so I'm trying to stay hydrated, okay? I've not had, this is what I stay on, water. You know, try to take a lot of water, and because I don't understand I don't take the local water, I take at least bottled water, which I feel is more safer for me. So like I was saying, traveling across West Africa is the most difficult thing you can think about because they don't love themselves, honestly. And Africans or West Africans are the problem of West Africa. I can tell you that for free. West Africans are the biggest problem of West Africa. Okay, so it looks like the vehicle will take us. I don't know. I think that's the next in line. Okay, so I'm back here so I can get my ticket, because if I don't get the ticket, I can't move, right? So like I was saying, West Africans are the biggest problem of West Africa. Don't forget, I'm trying to do a research here about the ease and difficulty of doing trade across the West African corridor. Now, so far that I've come, when I start releasing my videos, I'm going to tell you some countries where it is a bit easy to do trade in West Africa, and some of the things you should expect, in those corridors. Because fact is that some time ago, the Foreign Affairs Minister of Nigeria said something about the deficits in intra-West African trade running into billions of dollars.